Hello YouTube, this is Salam. In this video I'm going to show you how I'm going to salvage this 11-inch bucket. This bucket came with the backhoe when I bought it. It doesn't fit it. The whole pattern over here for the pins is different than the John Deere 310D that I have. So I'm going to cut these. It's in bad shape. I actually spent the last hour straightening it up as much as I could. I have other buckets. I'm going to cut metal and salvage parts, so I don't want to spend money to fix this one. I only need to use this one to dig trenches for the water line and for the foundation of the building. So I could repair it and be able to use it. I will show you a close-up of this bucket, then I show you the other bucket that I'm going to cut parts and use them to patch this one. I hope you enjoy this video. This bucket been repaired in the past and it's in bad shape. As you see, it's rusted. This metal is still thick, and this one too. It's twisted when they welded the top part. It's twisted. It's not parallel to the cutting edge. For my backhoe, these holes need to be 1 3/4 and they need to be 8-inch apart, and these 1.5 inches and they need to be 10-inch apart. So I'm going to cut these because they don't match. And I have these buckets. These two, they came with the machine. This one, I bought it. It's a brand new. It's 18 inches. It also doesn't match the whole pattern. So I'm going to use these two buckets to salvage the pins or this whole pattern, the one that attached to the backhoe, and install them on this bucket and on the other one. I'm going to use this one for this 11-inch bucket. This bushing is missing. I need to cut it over here, so I'm going to remove these and weld them in place. And I actually need to use this so when I dig the trenches I have a smooth bottom. And we've been getting a lot of rain. I moved these buckets about 3 weeks ago, and as you see, this one filled with water and it's very muddy. I suspected this to be mild steel, so I went and got a file, and it is mild steel, so I'm not going to bother with it. I will build the bottom part with this blade. It's 3/8 thick, it's mild steel. I will cut it to match the shape of the other bucket, and then for the cutting edge I'm going to use thicker piece of mild steel, and I will cut it in a shape of a knife, and then I will hard face the cutting edge with hard facing rods. I will show you how to do that. got this piece grinded to the shape that I wanted. I end up having about 30 degrees at this corner. It is straight. And I'm going to weld it right in the center. This piece is 12 inches. It stick out ½ inch on each side. And when I weld it, I'll make sure this corner and the top corner of this, the weld bead will go through them and it will be continuous. It continues this shape. I also welded and grinded this area under the cutting edge. So when I weld this, it will be strong and I don't have to worry about this bucket cracking or the weld break in this area. This blade is a 3/8, and from the edge, the flat edge to the corner, I have 7/16 of inch, and I end up having a 3/8 of inch on each side because this bucket, it's tapered. It's going like this. So I have a 3/8 over here and a 3/8 of inch over here. And now I'm ready to tag this in place. I'm welding, use 5 30-second welding rods, and I'm putting thick bead. I tag this from the other side so it doesn't warp. I'm going to flip it on its side, weld everything over here, do same thing to the other side, and then I will weld it from this side. After I weld this area, then I will come back and I'll show you what I'm planning to do with the cutting edge. I changed my idea. I thought about hard face in this area, but I show you a better way to do it. I welded it from all sides, and then I grinded it and waited for it to cool down. Then I removed the piece of wood that was here. It's still straight in this area. It didn't warp. This came out nice. It looked like it's one piece. I fused this piece of metal with this piece of metal. This is mild steel. All the stuff that I welded here. I thought originally to weld with 70-18, put a diamond shape over here, and then hard face the top of it with hard face welding rods. However, I have this old cutting edge. When I replace it on my bulldozer, I saved it. This will be better. I will grind it and cut it to length. Then I will weld it over here, where in the future, if it wear out, I could cut the weld and replace it. And this will be faster. This piece of metal I added, it's 1/2 inch thick by 1.5 inch wide. It's a track. A roller was designed to roll in this area. So it is better than mild steel and it's strong. I was able to tack it and heat it with the weld and then form it to the shape of the bucket. I'm going to weld this area all the way, and then I will add about 1.5 to 2 inches weld bead every so often to add strength to this bucket. I welded this all the way, and the leftover material I cut it in half and I welded them on the side. I also welded them all the way. This section right now is very solid and strong. Now I'm going to flip the bucket and attach this part to the bucket. I believe if I cut this with the grinder, just this part, and I make an angle out of it, I have to weld more material because this is wider than the bucket. I believe this will allow me to weld this to the bucket real easy, and the geometry of the bucket will be right. The original ears for this bucket, they used to have about 8-inch clearance in the front to allow the backhoe beam to fit. And on the back, they have about 5.25 inch. There is 2 linkages on the backhoe. In its current setup, they set for about 10 inches in the back to fit here. To be able to use something like this, I have to disconnect the top pin, and that's held with E-clips. I have to remove those, remove the pin, and then turn both linkages 180 degree, and this will give me about 5 inches because the thickness of those linkages 2.5 inches. However, these, they were in bad shape. The weld looked horrible, they looked like they may break. I could repair them, I could grind the weld and build them up. Also these, they have a lot of wear. It's supposed to be tight like this one. So I had to machine these and build bushing for them and all that, and I didn't want to deal with all that. Also, I didn't want to deal with moving the linkages every time I have to swap buckets. This was scrap. If I didn't use this part out of that bucket, it was going to the scrap yard. It may look stupid on the top of this small bucket. However, it will work just fine, and it will be more convenient to swap buckets so I don't have to deal with the linkages. If I welded it like that, I'll be able to dig a trench 24-inch deep if the bottom of the bucket is level. If I go like this, I'll be able, or the deepest cut, I'll be able to make it's about 37 inches if I go with the bucket this way. So it will work for my needs. I also didn't have to buy any material, and I didn't have to drill or make any special tool. This piece, I cut it from here, and I'm planning to weld it like this. As you see, it has a radius. I'm going to weld it like this. And I cut this piece 1/2 inch by 2 inch flat stock. This is 1/2 inch thick. And I'm going to weld it like this to give me flat surface so I could weld it on the top of that bucket. And as I mentioned earlier, that bucket, it has little bit of twist. I'll be able to set this parallel to the cutting edge so I'll be able to use the bucket better. I could adjust it because I want to remove that twist by doing this, by paralleling this to the cutting edge. This will put less stress on the machine. I also thought about weld thick plates over here with holes, and then weld thick plates on the bucket to fit inside, and I'll be able to use the pins, and I make it as a quick attachment because in the future I'm planning to build a thumb and also a rake to be able to grab trees and brushes. So this way I don't pick any dirt. And I also thought about building a spike to be able to go into the ground and cut roots of a tree and be able to drop a tree way easier than to use a bucket. However, I will build that in the future. I'll build a quick attachment to be able to house the new attachment that I'm going to build. For now, I need this very quick. I need to finish with this bucket very quick to be able to trench the water line and to trench for the concrete. So this, in my opinion, it's going to work just fine, and it's free. It didn't cost me anything. I just have to do some cutting and welding. I inserted these 2 pins so I can keep checking to make sure they rotate freely. I'm welding about 2-inch beads on all sides to minimize warpage and to maintain the 2 pins free action. I welded this and I repaired it. I fixed the wear in this area. This piece right now, it looked twisted this way because the bucket, it had a twist to it before I started this project. But let me show you. If you compare it to the cutting edge, it has a twist to it. It's about 1/4 inch right now, like this. It's about 1/4 inch off, but right now this part is parallel to the cutting edge. And it's off on the back side, which I know the back side, it's twisted. It's about 1 3/8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and tack it in place and weld it in a few spots, and then I will try it to see how the machine does when it cut with this bucket. I finished with it last night and I painted it. The paint is dry. I'm not going to use it this weekend because the ground is muddy. I added more weld in this area. I thought about cutting the piece that left over from this and weld them this way to strengthen this joint. However, I believe this is strong enough. All the welds are very thick, about 3/4 inch thick. In some area I put about 3 beads. I welded a flat stock in this area to connect this to the original that came with the bucket. I also cut this 1/2 inch thick, a 3 inch by 3 inch, and I covered the hole that was here. I also cut 1.5 inch by 1/2 inch thick, a flat stock, and I spliced this area to this area, and I built this area with weld. I'm going to try this bucket before I post this video so you will see it in use. I did connect it to the backhoe yesterday after I tacked it and checked it, and it looked good. So I went ahead and welded it all the way. The good thing, this bucket will cut easy through clay soil. I was able to go about 36 inches, 3 feet. The bad thing, let me show you what's going on. I have hard clay and it's wet. It gets stuck to this bucket. I have hard time shaking the dirt off. I may have to weld chain inside, and when I lift the bucket I rattle it a little bit, and this will cause the clay to fall. Otherwise it does good job. And as you see, it's very hardy material and sticky. Otherwise, this come real good. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching.